Seniors, have you ever stopped for a moment and wondered why so many people begin to believe that life slows down or even ends after the age of 65, as if something inside them quietly switches off? The truth is far more powerful than that belief. Aging is not a sudden stop, it is a gradual shift shaped heavily by daily patterns, especially the way each day begins. Human biology does not come with an expiration date at 65. In fact, research in longevity science shows that the body retains a remarkable ability to repair, rebuild, and regenerate far later in life than most people imagine. Your heart continues to beat tirelessly, your brain continues to form new neural connections, and your muscles still respond to stimulation and movement. What actually changes is not the potential of the body, but the signals it receives every single day. Modern research from long term observational studies involving tens of thousands of adults has shown something striking. People who maintain simple, consistent morning routines after 60 tend to live significantly longer, often with better mobility, sharper memory, and more independence well into old age. This is not about expensive treatments or rare medical breakthroughs, but about how the body is guided in the first hour after waking. That early window in the morning acts like a biological control panel. The choices made during those first moments influence hormones, circulation, brain activity, and even how cells decide between repair and decline. When the morning begins with dehydration, stress, inactivity, or processed food, the body interprets it as a survival situation, shifting resources away from repair. But when the morning begins with the right signals, the body activates deep maintenance systems that support longevity, energy, and clarity throughout the day. One of the most important discoveries in modern aging science is that hydration plays a far greater role in health than most people realize, especially after sleep. During the night, the body naturally loses fluids through breathing and skin activity, leaving the blood slightly thicker by morning. This is not dangerous in itself, but it does mean the heart has to work harder to circulate blood efficiently upon waking. Studies in cardiovascular health suggest that early hydration can significantly reduce strain on the heart and improve circulation in older adults. When water is consumed soon after waking, it helps restore fluid balance, supports kidney function, and assists in flushing out metabolic waste that accumulates overnight. Some research even links proper morning hydration habits with lower risks of cardiovascular events over time because it reduces the pressure placed on the circulatory system during the most vulnerable part of the day. Many people make the mistake of reaching for coffee first thing in the morning, which may provide stimulation but does not restore hydration. In fact, caffeine can temporarily increase fluid loss, making the body feel even more dehydrated if not balanced with water. Over time, consistent dehydration can contribute to fatigue, dizziness, and slower cognitive performance, especially in older adults whose natural thirst signals are already less sensitive than in youth. Something as simple as drinking water shortly after waking helps the body transition from rest mode to active function more smoothly, allowing organs like the brain, heart, and kidneys to begin the day in a more balanced state. Another powerful factor in morning biology is light exposure. The human body runs on an internal clock known as the circadian rhythm, which regulates sleep, hormones, metabolism, and even immune function. This internal timing system is heavily influenced by natural sunlight. When the eyes are exposed to morning light, special receptors in the retina send signals directly to the brain's central clock, helping reset the body's daily rhythm. This process triggers a natural reduction in sleep hormones and increases alertness hormones, preparing the body for the day ahead. Research has shown that consistent exposure to morning sunlight can improve sleep quality at night, enhance mood stability, and support healthier hormone balance. Without this signal, the internal clock can become misaligned, leading to irregular sleep patterns, daytime fatigue, and long-term disruption in biological function. This is especially common in older adults who spend more time indoors. Even a short period outdoors in the morning can significantly improve this synchronization process. Natural daylight is far more powerful than indoor lighting and provides a full spectrum of signals that artificial light cannot replicate. Over time, this simple habit helps stabilize energy levels, improve mental clarity, and support healthier aging patterns. Nutrition timing is another critical but often overlooked factor in longevity. After several hours of fasting during sleep, the body is in a highly receptive state for nutrients. Protein intake in the morning plays a particularly important role because it provides the building blocks needed for muscle maintenance and repair. As people age, muscle loss becomes one of the most significant factors affecting mobility, balance, and independence. Without sufficient protein, the body may begin breaking down muscle tissue to meet basic amino acid needs, which accelerates weakness over time. When adequate protein is consumed early in the day, it helps activate muscle building processes that support strength and stability. This is especially important because falls are one of the leading risks for older adults, often leading to long recovery times and reduced independence. Research indicates that distributing protein intake more effectively throughout the day, particularly starting in the morning, can help preserve muscle mass and improve physical resilience. Foods such as eggs, yogurt, lean meats, or plant based protein sources can all contribute to this process when consumed in sufficient amounts. The key is consistency and timing, not extreme dieting or complicated nutrition plans. Beyond nutrition and hydration, movement and balance also play a silent but crucial role in healthy aging. One of the most overlooked predictors of longevity is balance ability. Simple balance challenges, such as standing on one leg for short periods, activate deep systems within the brain and body that are responsible for coordination, spatial awareness, and fall prevention. These systems naturally weaken with age if not regularly engaged. However, they remain highly adaptable even in later life when trained consistently. Balance exercises stimulate communication between the inner ear, vision, and muscular system, helping the brain maintain its ability to coordinate movement efficiently. Studies in neurology have shown that consistent balance training can even support improvements in brain regions associated with memory and spatial processing. This means that something as simple as practicing stability in the morning is not just physical exercise, but also cognitive training. It strengthens the connection between mind and body in a way that directly supports independence and safety in daily life. Perhaps one of the most underestimated yet powerful tools for longevity is breathing. Most people breathe shallowly without realizing it, especially under stress or upon waking. This limits oxygen intake and keeps the body in a mild state of tension. Slow, controlled breathing patterns, however, can shift the nervous system from a stress dominant state into a recovery and repair state. This transition is essential for long term health because it reduces inflammation, lowers blood pressure, and supports cellular repair processes. Breathing techniques that involve controlled inhalation, breath holding, and slow exhalation have been studied for their impact on heart rate variability, a key marker of resilience and longevity. When practiced regularly, these techniques help the body maintain a calmer internal environment, which supports better sleep, improved focus, and more stable emotional health. Over time, this can significantly reduce wear and tear on the cardiovascular and nervous systems. When all of these elements are combined, hydration, sunlight exposure, proper nutrition, balance training, and controlled breathing, they create a powerful synergy. Each habit reinforces the others, helping the body shift into a state of repair rather than decline. The morning becomes not just the start of the day, but a reset point for the entire biological system. Instead of slowly drifting into fatigue and weakness with age, the body is continuously reminded of its ability to function, adapt, and recover. The real secret of longevity is not found in a single miracle habit, but in the consistency of small daily signals that guide the body toward health. This is where the foundation is built. In the next part, these principles will continue into deeper habits that further strengthen brain function, cellular repair, and long term vitality, showing how even simple daily actions can influence how strong, active, and independent life can remain well beyond 65. The real change in how the body ages after 65 is not decided by one dramatic habit, but by the repeated signals that are sent to it every single morning. Once the body wakes up, it is in a highly sensitive state. Every action taken in those early minutes influences how the nervous system, hormones, muscles, and even individual cells decide what kind of day it is going to be. Most people underestimate this completely. They believe aging is something fixed, something that just happens automatically with time. But modern biology shows something very different. The body is constantly adapting, constantly responding, and constantly interpreting signals from behavior. That means the morning routine is not just routine. It is communication with the body's control systems. One of the most powerful drivers of long-term physical decline in older adults is muscle loss. This process does not happen suddenly. It happens slowly, silently, and consistently over many years. After the age of 60, the body becomes less efficient at maintaining muscle tissue unless it is actively stimulated. This is not because the body is failing, but because it assumes the need for muscle is decreasing. If movement becomes less frequent and protein intake is reduced or delayed, the body begins to prioritize energy efficiency over strength. That means muscle tissue is gradually broken down to be used elsewhere. The result is reduced strength, slower walking speed, poor balance, and increased vulnerability to falls and injuries. However, this process is not permanent or irreversible in the way many people assume. The body retains the ability to rebuild muscle tissue even in advanced age, as long as it receives the correct signals. One of the most important signals is early protein intake. After a night of fasting during sleep, the body is in a recovery seeking state. It is ready to rebuild, but it requires the raw materials to do so. Protein provides those materials. When protein is consumed early in the day, it activates muscle repair pathways more effectively than later intake. This is because the body is more responsive to anabolic signals in the morning hours. It is not about eating excessively, but about timing and consistency. When protein intake is delayed or insufficient in the morning, the body may begin breaking down its own muscle tissue to maintain basic functions. This is a survival mechanism that was useful in ancient times, but in modern life it becomes a problem when physical activity is already reduced. Over time, this imbalance leads to a gradual decline in physical resilience. But when the first meal of the day includes adequate protein, the body receives a completely different instruction. Instead of conserving energy by reducing muscle mass, it begins reinforcing structure and strength. This helps maintain independence, mobility, and balance for much longer. Movement in the morning further enhances this effect. The body is not designed for long periods of stillness, especially after waking. Overnight, circulation slows, joints stiffen, and the nervous system transitions into a low activity state. Gentle movement acts as a restart mechanism. It increases blood flow, warms up the joints, and signals to the brain that the body is entering an active phase again. This does not require intense exercise. Even slow stretching, walking around the room, or simple repeated motions are enough to reactivate circulation. The key factor is consistency, not intensity. When movement is combined with protein intake, the effect becomes significantly stronger. Muscles that are lightly activated after receiving amino acids are more likely to enter a repair and strengthening mode. This is because muscle tissue responds to both mechanical and nutritional signals at the same time. Without movement, protein alone has a weaker effect. Without protein, movement alone cannot fully support repair. But together, they create a synchronized response that supports long-term strength preservation. Balance plays a different but equally important role in this system. Unlike general strength, balance depends heavily on communication between multiple systems in the body. The eyes, inner ear, muscles, and brain must constantly coordinate to keep the body stable. As people age, this communication becomes less precise. That is why even small disturbances can lead to loss of balance or falls. The issue is not just physical weakness, but reduced coordination efficiency. Practicing balance in the morning is particularly effective because the nervous system is in a highly adaptable state after sleep. When a person stands on one leg or performs controlled stability movements, the brain is forced to make rapid adjustments. These adjustments strengthen neural pathways responsible for coordination. Over time, this improves not only physical stability, but also confidence in movement. Fear of falling is itself a major factor in reduced activity among older adults, and improving balance helps reduce that fear significantly. What makes balance training even more important is its connection to brain health. The same neural systems involved in physical coordination are also linked to cognitive functions such as memory and attention. This means that improving balance is not just about preventing falls. It is also about supporting mental clarity and reducing cognitive decline. The brain remains more active and responsive when it is regularly challenged with coordination tasks. Breathing is another system that operates quietly in the background but has a powerful influence on overall health. Most people breathe shallowly, especially after waking. This shallow breathing pattern limits oxygen exchange and keeps the nervous system in a slightly stressed state. When the body remains in this state for long periods, it can contribute to fatigue, increased inflammation, and reduced recovery capacity. Controlled breathing techniques help reverse this pattern. Slow inhalation allows oxygen to enter deeply into the lungs, while extended exhalation signals the nervous system to relax. This shift activates the parasympathetic system, which is responsible for repair, digestion, and recovery. When practiced consistently, controlled breathing can reduce blood pressure, improve heart rate stability, and enhance mental calmness. It is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools for influencing the internal state of the body. Another key factor in morning health is exposure to natural light. The body's internal clock is extremely sensitive to light signals. When sunlight enters the eyes in the morning, it communicates directly with the brain's regulatory systems, helping set the timing for hormone release, sleep cycles, and energy levels. Without this signal, the internal clock can become misaligned, leading to disrupted sleep, irregular energy patterns, and slower recovery. Morning light also influences the production of hormones that regulate mood and alertness. When this exposure is consistent, the body develops a stable rhythm that supports better sleep at night and more consistent energy during the day. Even short exposure to natural daylight can make a significant difference, especially for individuals who spend most of their time indoors. The body does not require extreme exposure. It requires regular exposure. When all these systems are supported together nutrition, movement, balance, breathing, and light exposure the result is not just improved physical health. It is a shift in how the entire body operates on a daily basis. Energy becomes more stable, movement feels easier, thinking becomes clearer, recovery happens faster. These changes accumulate gradually, not suddenly, but their long term impact is profound. The most important realization is that aging is not controlled by time alone. It is influenced heavily by daily behavior patterns repeated over years. The body is always listening, always responding, and always adapting. Every morning is an opportunity to send it better instructions. Over time, those instructions determine not just how long a person lives, but how well they live. And that is the true foundation of longevity. Not extreme measures, not complicated interventions, but simple, consistent signals that guide the body towards strength, stability, and resilience every single day.